In order to get an embroidery design exactly where we want it, we are going to mark up a piece of stabilizer, baste it to the back of our background fabric, and then we will match the intersections that we end up with on our background fabric with an intersection that we'll stitch out in color number 1 of any of the Meaning of Life Designs embroidery designs. So the key to accuracy is a fine point pen or 0.5 millimeter mechanical pencil. I actually prefer the pencil. They have a really nice fine point on them and you can get really accurate. So this is an 8.5 inch square of stabilizer, medium weight tearaway stabilizer. We're going to draw a simple crosshair in the center of it. So half of 8.5 is 4 1/4. For the first line, we can use the edge of the stabilizer as our baseline to find the 4.5 inches into the center. And then I want to make sure that I've got the tip of the pencil right up against the ruler so that I can draw the most accurate line. So that is the first line. Then we're going to rotate 90 degrees and we are going to use the line that we've already drawn as the baseline for drawing the next line to make sure we get it at 90 degrees. So I'm going to measure 4 1/4 inches in from the edge here, but I'm using this line that we've drawn to make sure that I am fully perpendicular. Very much like how you would cut fabric into squares and rectangles. You're going to make your first cut and then your next cut is going to be based off the first cut. So there is the intersection, and the intersections that you need to draw are always going to be specified in the instructions. Once you've got your intersection marked up, you're going to get your background fabric, and this is also an 8.5 inch square, and you're going to put that right side down. Now we're also quilting this in the hoop at the same time, so I have a piece of batting already laying on the background fabric. Then I'm going to place my marked up stabilizer on the batting, or the wrong side of the background fabric if you don't have batting. Pop a couple of pins in there and then take that away to your sewing machine and stitch along the marked lines with a 6 millimeter long or 4 stitches to the inch stitch length. You can use any color that you like on the top, but in the bobbin, which is going to be marking up your background fabric, you want to make sure that you have a thread color that can easily be seen on your background fabric. This is actually a super good way of using up all those bits of ends of bobbins that you might have hanging around. Really doesn't matter what the color is as long as you can see it. So you'll end up with stitching along there, and that will look something like this. You can see I've actually had black thread in the machine. We've stitched along, we've stitched along these 2 lines on the stabilizer, and now we've got the intersection marked up on the background fabric. What if you are stitching up something just a little bigger? This is the right size to stitch up the holly circle, so it's an 18 inch square, although you can kind of see here it's been a little rough cut, and I did that on purpose because I really want to make sure that I give you the best tips for success. So if you are stitching up the holly circle, then we're still going to have a vertical and a horizontal center line. Then we're also going to mark lines 4 inches to the right, 4 inches to the left of vertical, 4 inches above, and 4 inches below horizontal. So 18 inches here to here, half of that is going to be 9 inches. So I'm going to use this edge, which I think is actually the edge of the stabilizer, and I'm going to line 9 inches up there, and tip of the pencil to the ruler. I'm going to draw my line down there. That's the first line. I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. Now we want 9 inches from here to the center, and I want to make sure that this line is the baseline for the vertical line that we're going to draw here. So I've got the ruler markings on here, and I've also got 9 inches here, and you can kind of see the edge of this piece of stabilizer is not straight. So really want to emphasize that we need to use the line that we've just drawn as our baseline for drawing this next line. So that gives us a vertical and horizontal center line. Now we're going to measure 4 inches to the right, 4 inches to the left, 4 inches above, 4 inches below. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. And the 4 inches is not a random number. It is the grid that this particular design collection was built on in order to make it easy to get all of the designs positioned. So you always want to refer to your instructions and make sure that you're drawing the lines which are specified. Okay, that was the first one. Now we're going 4 inches from this line and making sure that we are centered along here. Rotate again. 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. So we've got 4 inches all the way along here. We're lined up all the way along that line. One more. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are good all the way up there. We're good all the way along here. And there's the line. Now then, it's always a good plan to measure your lines. Make sure we are 4 inches left, 4 inches right. We're 4 inches above, 4 inches below. The most often made mistake is mismeasuring on the alignment lines and then wondering why the designs don't fit together. Now we're always going to mark the top, and in this particular case it doesn't really matter which one is the top as long as we have identified the top. We're going to place our background fabric right side down on the cutting mat, batting on top of that, this marked up stabilizer on top of the batting, baste along these lines, and then go stitch along each of these lines with 6mm stitch length or 4 stitches to the inch, making sure that whatever you choose to put in the bobbin is easily visible on your background fabric.